Hello, and welcome to Praxis and Theodicy. Today's video addresses toxic politics. This will be one in a series, wherein we explore certain habits and strategies that people use in political and cultural movements that tend to have deleterious effects on that culture. Think of this as a collection of brief wake-up calls for Christians as we engage in politics. In February 2011, following participation in a substance rehabilitation program, Two and a Half Men star Charlie Sheen became the center of attention for American celebrity media when he participated in a series of interviews wherein he paraded his brash lifestyle and his equally brash mindset, a mindset which he described concisely with the word winning.
You're either winning or you're losing. There's nothing in between. Like, winning, I'm gonna live my life the way I want. I'm gonna win inside of every moment. Wow, winning. In the zone of winning. Duh, winning. Oops, winning. You know, you make a choice to win, and you win. I'm sorry, winning. You starting to get the concept now? I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what? It's how you perceive it.
Charlie encapsulates this immediately hashtagable ethos when he defends it against an accusation that some people might see his current lifestyle as losing.
Winning in what sense?
Just winning, just being happy.
Because some would
just
say
winning.
that you're defeated now.
They can say that, but what kind of car are they driving? What kind of girls are in their home? I said girls.
His defense is simply to point out the fruits of his lifestyle. He owned an impressively expensive luxury vehicle and had multiple paramours living in his lavish mansion. What was certainly material success can completely disregard anything negative that might be said about his lifestyle. No doubt could be cast on his methods if the result was favorable. The ends justify the means. Sheen was certainly not the first public figure to have such a brash mindset that success was the only thing that mattered, but he may have been the first to see this mindset take off as a hashtag. He certainly affected the American zeitgeist. While many people boosted its popularity because it was amusing and seemingly harmless, others wore it unironically as an actual credo for life. It boosted a sort of repressed narcissism that people now felt comfortable identifying with. 5 years later, Donald J. Trump won the nomination of the presidency for the Republican Party, and his banner proudly rang the battle cry of winning, winning, winning.
Trump seems to deal with unpleasant reality by ignoring or denying it.
I do like to win, and I believe that if I didn't think I was going to win, I wouldn't have done it. So somewhere deep down in the mind, I must have said, I'm going to win. Tremendous success in business, tremendous success with, I go into television, I do a show, it's a big success. My whole life has been winning. I mean, I've won. Whether I did The Apprentice, went on television, same question.
You can't compare anything you've done before.
We will have so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning. Believe me, I agree. You'll never get bored with winning. We never get bored. We are going to turn this country around. We are going to start winning big league.
Like Charlie Sheen, Donald Trump had spent his life winning everything he set his mind to, and he was a firm believer that no matter what he did, as long as he won, it would all be justified. Far from being a healthy way to make choices, and not quite as innocently laughable as it has been made out to be, I submit that this mindset is inherently toxic. There are two problems at the heart of this ethos that grind against my best senses. The first is that winning is defined by the person who is doing the winning. There's no subjective judgment to your win state. You are the winner of a game which you wrote the rules for. You live in your own world, and the only people who will want to join you in that world are curious gawkers or fellow sycophants who agree to rewrite the world according to your rules. It's dangerous for a public figure to be the one writing rules for such whimsical reasons. That's not how democracy works, it's how a cult works. I won't speak too much on how Christians should respond to the ethos of the perpetual winner who writes their own rules. It should be fairly obvious that Sheen and Trump both view success in a way that the Bible doesn't corroborate. Jesus Christ, the man who defined success again and again through word and deed as total self-sacrifice, is as far removed from the lavish material success of Trump or Sheen as you can get. I doubt anyone in my audience would dispute this very much. What I do want to emphasize is that this habit of the perpetual winner is bad for everyone. There are two reasons this mindset is toxic. The first reason, as I hinted at, is that the perpetual winner is only a winner of a game that they wrote the rules for. If they enter a contest in which they didn't write the rules, they are at an instant disadvantage. They've bet all their chips on red, and if the wheel shows red, they win. If it doesn't, well, that's where the danger of this mindset comes in, because this result is disastrous for the perpetual winner. Having promised a sure victory, the outcome doesn't just make them a loser, it makes them a fraud and a liar because their promises remain unfulfilled. Of course, this disaster to the perpetual winner can be averted, or rather, it can be diverted. If you promised you'd win and you fail to deliver on that promise, you can still win by changing the game. If the rule books display that the game was played fairly and you did not deliver your prophesied victory, you can go outside the rules. You can flip the table. You can destroy the system.
I would like to promise and pledge to all of my voters and supporters and to all of the people of the United States that I will totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
I'll be the last in line to say that every one of our systems we have in our society are unquestionably good for the public, but I think it's fairly safe to say that attacking the system itself for the sake of one narcissistic person and their sycophantic followers is a bad course to follow. The safest scenario for the public is for the perpetual winner to change their own rules and to remind everyone that those personal rules are the important ones. In other words, to declare a moral victory. Depending on what percentage of the population scoffs at the would-be winner, they will either fade away into a forgotten cult, or they will gain a foothold in the court of public opinion, to one day come back and change the rules for the sake of one man, a demagogue whose shadow remains to perpetually poison society. The second reason this mindset is so toxic is that it shifts the conversation away from any talk of progress whatsoever. This is not a side effect, it is the goal of this mindset. If you are a winner, a perpetual winner, then this means that everything you've done up until now has been a winning strategy. If this is true, then any talk of even considering some sort of change of behavior is nothing but loser talk. This allows the ethos to work its way into talk of politics at every stage and serve as a conservative blockade to absolutely any change, no matter how just or moral. If America is a winner, and you are quite treasonous if you don't agree to that stipulation, then it has done everything right until today. Any change to what we are doing would surely be wrong then. So what if every other developed country in the world has universal health care? Who cares that this is morally the better thing to do? That is a change to how we do things, and I said that America is a winner. So what you are suggesting is to fly in the face of success. Why do you bring up even the slightest hint of socialistic policies? Don't you know that socialism is a failed economic system? Why should I care if capitalism at its core is based on exploitation of laborers? It is a successful system. It won the war of ideas, and winning is what matters. Who cares if we funneled money to a mercenary group who slaughtered children and raped American Catholic missionaries? We destabilized that country, all right, and that's a win. Who cares if those high school students are anguishing over rampant gun violence? Their legislation failed, so they lose. Adults 1, kids 0. This glib response is not a method of dialogue. It is a method of obstruction. Anyone suggesting that we should improve society somewhat is maligned as fighting against a winning strategy. Any attempt at addressing change, especially for things like social or economic justice, are shot down before they leave the runway. It's an unsurprising habit for conservatives to perpetuate, but it's an absolutely shameful attitude for Christians to coddle. Because, in the end, it is never used to defend the oppressed, the afflicted, the least of these. It is used to defend our societal means of organizing power. It is used to defend a select few demagogues and the power they hold. Conservatism, at its most altruistic, believes that power belongs to a select few men, and if we organize society in a way that gives it to them and keeps it there, then they will continue the winning strategy that has seen society come this far. They convince us that the only way to truly love our neighbor is not to make sure that we function as a society that cares for each other, but to entrust power to them, and the success of the game they win will trickle down. The #winning mindset is used to attack any idea that we could do better at caring for widows and orphans in their distress. That's a losing strategy. You don't win the game by giving up power. Anyone with a brain could tell you that. You win the game through zeal and focus and violent hatred. Those are the rules, but it's not a game that Christians should be playing.
How do you plan on winning that war?
With zeal and focus and violent hatred.
If I win,